Welcome to the Meeple Syrup Aftershow, where designers discuss board game design. And we're already on episode 15, Publisher Roundtable number 2. So we thankfully have our two guests from our show earlier staying with us, Frank and Michael. Thank you for coming to the Aftershow, staying up late. I'll also give a shout out to Michael for being quite a soldier, because I know he's in a little bit of tooth pain, and he's just popping pills and staying with us, chatting games. So we appreciate that you are hardcore about board games.
I love it, man. I'll just muscle through it.
Attaboy. So what have you guys been playing other than your own games as of late, Michael? Anything that you maybe on your Christmas wish list or anything like that?
BGG Santa delivered Colt Express to me, so I haven't busted it out yet. But I got it. I'm excited, so I'll be playing that soon. But in the meantime, I did get a chance to play The Builders, which was cool. It was neat. It's kind of like a multiplayer solitaire, but still fun for what it is. And then Carcassonne Gold Rush. I told you earlier I'm a Carcassonne fanatic. So
yeah.
I have that on order. That was supposed to be at my door today. I got to go on this rant because I'm mad. Also, I can give a shout out to Acrotiri. Sorry to interrupt, but I have some games being shipped to me from Z-Man, and there was a mix-up, and they sent me a bunch of French games for Philosophia, and I'm like, I can't even play these even if I wanted to, because it's like Crossmaster French version, and I'm like, I can't do this. But I was supposed to be getting Acrotiri, Bamboozle Brother 2-player game, one of my favorite Bamboozle games, and then
I heard it's awesome.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good.
And I was supposed to get Carcassonne Gold Rush. My wife was very excited about getting that, so we could play that together. So anyway, sorry, you mentioned Carcassonne Gold Rush, and I'm fired up because
Is it awesome? Is it good? Do you like it?
I do, yeah.
Is it worth having?
It is worth having.
What's the hook?
The mining camps.
Yeah, it's all about the mining camps, and so it really adds a neat little different element to it. But I mean, it's definitely picking up. It adds enough flavor in a couple of different areas. It kind of changes things up just a little bit in a few areas. And it's worth looking into.
Has anybody played South Seas yet? Carcassonne South Seas?
I have. I love it.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that a lot better than either of Gold Rush or original Carcassonne. I really liked South Seas quite a bit, just because of how you trade the resources back in for the points and things like that. It scratched a few more itches for me in terms of strategy and whatnot, so I like that. And Frank,
Michael, I have to show you this, Michael. This is my Carcassonne little box that I made. So it's got all the expansions in here with all the different rules and all the different sets.
There it is.
Beautiful.
There it is.
Yeah. with the scoreboard printed on the cover of it.
Nice.
You're kind of a geek,
awesome.
aren't you?
Well done.
Kind of a geek. Yeah. So Michael, if you like tile-laying games, you should check out Acrotiri sometime. Just give it a go. You might like it.
Yeah,
it's a good two-player game. Really good two-player game.
I recommend you purchase 2 copies. This is legit. This is legit, and play them together, because I like it as a 3- and 4-player game.
Okay.
It originally was pitched as a 5-player game, but it was a little slow for Philosophia's liking, so they wanted it pared down to 2 players. And it actually made a lot of sense after teaching it many times. I can see the point. You do get
publishers add some value or something. They know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. And you know what? They know what they're selling, right? And so if you think about the kind of comments we had before, when I know what game I can sell and I know what I'm doing. When you think about what Philosophia and Z-Man have been doing with their 2-player line in terms of Targi, in terms of Acrotiri, in terms of Babel, those are 3 really actually deep and crunchy 2-player games. If you think of them, they're not like the really light 2-player games. And Cosmos 2-player line, which a lot of them are part of originally, were kind of a mix of the really simple 2-player games and then the really complex 2-player games. And you didn't know which one you were getting when you got a Cosmos 2-player line. But with this new 2-player line that Philosophia has going for them, it seems to be more of the crunchy stuff. Frank, I didn't want to leave you out of the conversation. I wanted to ask you too.
Sen,
Oh,
actually, I got a quick follow-up before you go to
okay.
Frank. Didn't you get contacted actually from the designer of Targi?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
true.
Jay and I both did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jay,
really
what happened?
Yeah, he just sent an email just saying, hey, I just want to thank you for this design. It's really wonderful. I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, oh, that's great. Thanks, man. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Very
so
classy.
I told him
Very
how much
classy.
I like Target. Yeah, but Frank, sorry, Daryl's like getting all in my business.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Frank, what's on your wish list for games? What are you getting from Dan?
More sales of R&R games.
Yes.
That's a good answer right there. I like that. I have so many games. I have a ridiculous collection of games, and while it's not up in the stratosphere, it's so many that
How many? How many do you think?
Hundreds and hundreds. I'm not in the thousands. Thank God. I'm not in the thousands, but I have a core of several hundred games that I really like. And
I was just gonna say, if you have to say not in the thousand, that's a pretty high number.
Yeah.
I know people who have thousands of games. So.
Yep.
Wow. Do you have like a whole room dedicated just to storage?
I have a loft.
Nice.
But there's so many games you can't play them all, and I wish I could play more games, but things like work get in the way. So
Damn work.
yeah.
But you're living the dream, Frank. This is the dream.
Yeah, you're living it.
And Michael, aren't you living the dream now too? Didn't you go down to do this on a fairly regular, quasi-permanent basis?
Yeah, I do it full. I call it full-time, full focus because I've always been doing it full-time, but now I can fully focus on it.
I see.
Nice.
Now, did your old job know you were doing this full time?
Yes, and I gave them, I was good at what I did over there, so
Yeah.
I made sure to take care of them too. But I really had a good management team, and so they knew that this was really what my passion was, and they knew the time was coming, so they were happy to see me off.
Good. Oh, and you got a new logo. Hey, look at that. There it is.
Yeah,
awesome.
I love the new
It
logo.
really pops.
Yeah, it's really good. I loved reading the story of how you got the name, which was really cool to me as a an ex-role player. Just hearing how that paladin there, if you don't know, if you haven't read the story, is a character that Michael had for how many years?
Oh shoot, man, he's been with me for over 10 years, probably 12, 13 years. Us gamers, we, and maybe not all of us, but we fall into these like personas, or we, especially D&D players, or it's like for me in my group anyway. I created this character, and I played it almost exclusively in Dungeons and Dragons for quite a while, and so that persona, that character, just kind of stuck with me. And then when I started like getting into online games, I would just use that as my handle, and then when the game would let me create a character, I'd use that as my character name, and so it just kind of came with me. It's just one of those things that has stuck with me ever since.
Excellent.
Absolutely. I got a transition. You said persona, and it made me laugh because I was thinking the first time I ever actually met Frank, and the first time I met Frank was with Jay. I was Jay's wingman at a gathering, and Jay was showing a bunch of games, and I remember it still sticks out to me. But it was like one of the very first pitches I ever sat in on in my life, and Jay's like, "What do you want to see?" And you were like, "Just show me it, quick. Make it quick." And Jay's like, he gave like a 30-second elevator pitch, and you're like, "Nope, not me. Next." And then he shows another one. He's like, "I like that one. Let's keep talking." And then like it was just like boom. It was like, what is going on here?
I loved it. I love that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love publishers who know what they want.
Yeah.
They're like, no, that's not me. Next.
It's
I mean,
perfect.
I think some of it has to be on the designer in the sense that I'm trying to pitch you games that I think are aligned with your company, and that's what we're trying to do. But we don't know everything that the publisher wants, so that was appreciated.
My first meeting with Frank had a little bit of under the table action.
I was just thinking about that.
I
That was
heard about
hilarious.
this. You literally paid him under the table. I literally want to be paid under the table at Gathering now. There's an expectation.
It was pretty funny. I walked into the thing and met Frank and shook his hand, and he shoved an envelope to me under the table, pretty much. It was pretty funny. That was our advance for something. That's
so cool. That's so awesome.
Hey, Frank, you've had a chance to publish a bunch of big-name designers. Now, like Bauza and Kramer, do they meet with them even virtually, or is it you're picking up the license for it?
The only one I haven't actually met is Kramer and Kiesling, and I've met them in passing only. But I know Antoine. I don't know him as well as I may know of some of the other designers, but I definitely know Rhino Knizia very well.
Oh, cool.
We published several of his games. We're always looking at his games. Some of his games are some of my favorite games, like Medici. I absolutely love Medici.
Great game. I love that game.
Classic. But
what's it like working with them? Are they I don't know, like somebody like Knizia? Does he have a different set of demands because it's a Knizia game? Like, as far
do you have a rider? Do you wear all white when you meet with them and white gloves?
Bow ties.
Are there doves flying through the air? Bow ties.
Just like any other adventure, I mean, they know what they want to pitch, and they're very they're very practiced at it. So they know what you're looking for, and they have a good idea of what would work for you. So it's a little bit easier in some respects, but at the same time, he's a very prolific author. Reiner is, and I have to go through a lot of different ones to find something that might work because not everything, again, is appropriate for what we do.
Right. Interesting.
We never touched on. We talked about it quickly, but you mentioned the Spiel des Jahres effect with Hanabi, and then we totally forgot to come back to it. I know Michael's going to be listening in because he wants Tiny Epic to win the next Spiel des Jahres. So tell us, what's the trick, and what's it like? Like, how does that change things?
It changes dramatically, I think. I think the Spiel des Jahres is the award you really want to win, without a doubt. It makes such a difference. Everyone wants that game. Everyone says, "Oh my God, I won the Spiel des Jahres. I have to have that game." And we've been selling boatloads of Hanabi because of it. Hanabi's a great game. But I don't think it would be selling as fast or have grown as fast if it hadn't been for the Spiel des Jahres.
Absolutely.
It's like winning an Oscar.
Yeah.
And everyone hears about it, and everyone says, "Oh, it's got to be a great game. It's got the FPGA, so I'm going to buy it." And I guarantee we bring in containers of it at a time, and those containers are sold out within a week or 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great award. I mean, we've won several other major awards. We've won, several of our games have won the Games 100 from Games Magazine.
Yep.
And have the top awards. We never won Game of the Year by them, but we did win Party Game of the Year. We won Card Game of the Year, and those had a decent effect as well.
But my real question is, do you have a ray gun? Because we got a ray gun.
Oh, bragging about the ray gun, the geeky award.
You got to get a ray gun. They're really cool.
I don't think I have one of those.
Yeah, I'll have to look for one. Michael, how do awards play into your world?
Do you have to submit them to award competitions?
So I just print myself out awards at this point. I'm so young. I find free templates on Word, and I make something up.
They can be expensive.
The paper. I do nice paper, so that's what's expensive. For the most part, I have to submit them if I'm interested, and so it's a matter of seeking it out. Though because Tiny Epic Kingdoms was published in German as well, when I stopped by and spoke with Karsten there, he let me know that 3 of the judges had come by and requested copies of the game, so that was cool.
That's great.
So, just the fact that they know it exists is super cool to me. I would just love even a recommendation. It would be the world right now. I'm just so young as a publisher. I've got a lot of growing to do, and I look up to a lot of people right now in terms of how well they're doing, and I want to get there. So I'm working hard at it, but I look around for awards and then I submit. The Mensa one I've submitted to, and I'll probably submit Tiny Epic Kingdoms to the Mensa award and see how that does this year or this coming year. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm young. I got a lot of room to grow.
Frank, what about you? I know you've won some like educational awards and different awards like that. Do you have to submit?
You've won scads of awards. I've lost track of all the awards.
Yeah, I just recently was looking at one of your games. It was covered in all these different like medals and I was like, how did you get all these awards?
It's a great game.
Well, yes, of course, obviously.
Obviously. No, we do submit them to most of those, and they win. So that's the key.
Winning. Okay, got it. Let me make a note.
Okay, must win
A
more.
little extra money in that envelope, or
It's only to me. Only to me.
But is that, like, for Spiel des Jahres, is that pretty much what it is for you? You submit the game, or X copies of the game, whatever they request, and then you just sit there and pretty much just wait, and that's
You wait for
your contribution?
Oh. That's pretty much what we do, yeah.
Interesting. Do they have to ask you to submit, or do you just like, hey, I'm sending you my game?
In most cases, some of them ask. Most of them ask, I think, but some of them are blanket askers. They're like, hey, whoever's got a game that wants to do this, we're open submissions. So
Right.
This is the time if you want to submit it, blah, 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 blah. Some will come around, like the SDJ will come around and look for a copy, or I know Mensa always is requesting for submissions.
Mm.
So,
And then often they actually ask for a payment too for some of these awards, so that they can
a lot
take some
of
time, right, to process.
application fee, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Have you found those application fees to be worthwhile? Do they translate into sales? I mean, other than SDJ and a couple of the other ones.
Not really.
Yeah. They just look pretty.
Oh, sorry.
There are a few key awards out there that are really, it's worth having, but it's just as much worth having, a piece in People magazine like we just got.
Oh, nice.
We got Strike a Pose.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to follow up with that because I was curious. What about like PR when it comes to like interviews, or what about reviewers now? There's some pretty significant reviewers out there.
That's the biggest thing for us. It's the reviewers and it's the PR, because that's gets the word out. People see it and they go, well, they love this game. I'm gonna love this game. I gotta get that game. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And Michael, you focus on that like really early when you're getting ready with a Kickstarter campaign. How far in advance are you already sending out review copies?
So I send out the free prototype copies, and this again plays into just part of getting the game out into the hands of people. So what I'll do is I'll send review copies to established reviewers, and then I also, if the game lends itself well to the format, will make prototypes that I give out to non-official reviewers who are just gamer enthusiasts that are willing to write up a page review.
Mm.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I find it's very valuable to do both. And I do time it very specifically because it plays into creating the buzz on Board Game Geek that then rolls into the launch of the Kickstarter project.
Right.
So right now I'm in the midst of it with Tiny Epic Galaxies, where I just put out free prototypes to gamers for Tiny Epic Galaxies about a month ago or 3 weeks ago, and then here in the next 2 weeks I'll launch the free print and play just as those reviews start to come in, and then with that free print and play that'll take me into the launch of the project 2 weeks later.
Wow. How many prototypes did you make, and did you make them yourself, like with your own hands and cut, or did you go into like a drive-through game cards or something like that?
No, I mean I cut down the tree. I actually have a mill in the back, and I do just.
I believe it.
No, I do printplaygames.com. Andrew Tolson is a really good guy, and so I use him to put together the prototypes. For Tiny Epic Galaxies, I've put together about 60 prototypes so far, of which 30 ended up with regular gamers, and about 30 ended up with actual reviewers. And so that was kind of the split for that one.
I like that mix. I really do appreciate the mix of the the professional reviewer versus the just gamer guy or gamer girl who is going to evangelize for you. Speaking of personalities and evangelists. Did anybody submit to tabletop for season 3?
Yeah, I was curious about that.
I did. I submitted Tiny Epic Kingdoms to it.
Yeah, Frank, what did you submit?
We submitted Chin, among others, and Chin was basically up against one other game to make it onto the show.
Oh.
The other game won out, so.
That's too bad.
It's always season 4.
It's always season 4, because that one has a big effect. I mean,
for sure,
I go into game stores here, just in London, Ontario, Canada, which is like, a middle-sized town in Ontario, and the game stores will print "as seen on tabletop" and stick it on their games, because that's become as big as a badge for casual gamers as the ours. Yeah.
It's got a good effect. It really does.
Yeah. And reviewers, who do you guys like as reviewers?
I always like Tom Basil.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's got a big reach.
I'm particularly drawn to Richard Ham, as well as Lance Mixter, Undead Viking.
Awesome.
I feel like Lance's approach and structure to his they're very lucid and they're very natural, and he really kind of hits on some good points. And Richard, his are just the techniques and stuff, some of the close-up, because he has different techniques that he does, and they're very engaging. Richard is very passionate and just very exciting to listen to, and so he's really developed quite a following simply because it's just entertaining to listen to the guy go off on games.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Richard Ham. He was actually on our show 2 weeks ago, so anyone who's interested in seeing more of Richard Ham, they can look back to episode 13. And we have Tom Vassell said he would hopefully be on the show in the new year, so we're really excited about that working out, because he's also a game designer with Nothing Personal, so we're hoping he'll come on the show and like you guys, wear those two hats, talking from a reviewer standpoint, but also from a designer standpoint. And hopefully we'll have Lance as well on the show. I love his reviews, although they're long. They're great. So I love them. So absolutely.
So does anybody have if you were to recommend, top 3 games for somebody to buy for somebody else for Christmas, because we're in the Christmas season, what would they be from your company?
Oh, easy. Spike, Spellcaster, and Strike Oppose.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
They're all S games, so that's a good.
There you go.
I can't recommend Time's Up enough. That's my #1 party game that of all party games out there that
you haven't designed.
That I haven't designed, exactly.
Yeah, the best is yet to come.
Yeah, but man, it's just that game is so awesome. I prefer the Title Recall edition because I don't know, I'm not as good with people, especially when they're historical titles.
That the Title Recall version's more. Yeah,
Title Recall's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and how about you, Michael? What would you recommend people purchase from your catalog?
Well, if we're doing top 3, they just got to buy them all.
Tiny.
Just buy everything in my catalog, and that's it. I've published 5 games now. Being that I founded Crash Games with Patrick, I published Rise and Dutchman with Crash Games, and then published Dungeon Heroes, Fantasy Frontier, and then the Tiny Epic games.
Right.
So I'm actually up to 6 games now, I guess, and then. But outside my company, man, Carcassonne and Survive are great for entry-level gamers to understand and see kind of the depth that some of us seasoned gamers are enjoying.
Yeah.
And since we have you both on the show, I mean, we talked a little bit about the games that we submitted to you both that you guys are publishing, but Frank, you care to give us any more insights as far as what's happening with either Caffeine Rush or the unnamed Bamboozle Brother game?
Caffeine Rush literally is entering the production cycle now, and that was, it was an easy one to knock out, so off it went. That was simple. Your game with the children's game, it's the artwork and the actual.
What's the next step?
What's that?
What's the next step for it? Do you do more testing or?
We're evaluating the names that we have, and the artwork is under drafting right now. It's just preliminary, and we're also looking at the components of the game, how we're going to make them.
Cool.
because we can go all out with that game, or we could scale it back. We can change the price point depending on what we put in that game. So there's a lot of factors, and we're trying to evaluate how is it going to basically come out so that it sells the best.
Right. And then,
Okay,
Michael,
cool.
we're on base camp. We're all meeting up on base camp with Josh to discuss Rock Paper Wizards. And
Yeah.
where do you see that going? And when do we think that'll hit the Kickstarter world?
So it's going to depend a little bit on how Tiny Epic Galaxy starts the year off for me, and then kind of being a one-man band, I kind of take things as they go. I've got a great lineup. Rock Paper Wizards is one of them. I played it over the Thanksgiving holiday with my family, and they absolutely loved the game. The game is really a riot. It's a ton of fun. It's simple. It's straightforward, but it's a really neat experience. And so in that regard, I'm for me, it's a matter of just I tackle one game very passionately and fervently, and then I can move on to the next. And so
Right.
I try not to split my time so much, but I've kind of got them all working. So this one, obviously Josh is getting working on finishing up the art and getting all that rocking and rolling. And I would say I'm probably looking at this one either. Probably the later end. See, that's the thing. I don't want to get into the holidays too much. I don't want to hit like November, December either. And so, if I don't hit it at the end of the summer, it may wait and start off 2016. But I'd like to try to get it out in mid 2015.
Great. Good to know.
Could you mention? I'm trying to find it, but I recall, maybe I recall incorrectly, but Michael, didn't you have like a whole bunch of titles that you released? Maybe it was on Facebook or something of some of the games that are coming. What are some of the others coming out?
Yeah, actually that's on my newsletter, and I can
that's where I
shoot you a link for that here in just 2 seconds.
If you put it in the chat, maybe Sen can share it if it works out or something like that.
Yeah, some more Scott Elms games coming, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
indeed.
right.
Indeed, I have that.
And also somebody else, who
I felt like I knew a whole bunch of them.
SQ?
Oh, yeah.
Was it SQ?
Yeah, SQ's
Yeah.
Dark Rock Ventures.
Dark Rock Ventures,
Dark
Michael
Rock
Eskew.
Adventure, yeah.
Yeah, so whole bunches of games that I play tested, so it's fun.
Oh, cool.
I like reading those. It's good. It's a good bunch.
Alright,
It's a good little crew. It's actually the same crew that we sort of all came up together, oddly enough. So Jay and I and Scott Almes and Michael Eskew, starting with Tasty Minstrel, right? And then after that,
Right, yeah, that's
we've
right.
kind of gone off to other things, but we all seem to find the same publishers, and a lot of them happen to be in Arizona for some odd reason.
Yeah, something in the water down here. But
Yeah, or the sand. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd rather be in Florida with Frank.
Yeah, Florida's pretty nice until the rain and all that kind of stuff, and But where exactly in Florida are you, Frank?
We're based in Tampa.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So I got that link up there for you.
Excellent,
Also,
thank
Adam McIver's Vector. I'm really excited.
Right,
to-
Vector.
so,
There you
yeah.
go.
We really want Adam on the show. We had him booked,
Oh,
and he had tickets to a concert, and he was still trying to figure a way to work it on the show. And we're like, don't worry about it, man. We'll have you in the new year. So he is not only a great designer, but a fantastic artist, and I believe he did your logo.
he did, yes, absolutely. And yeah, very, very talented guy, and really just a nice, down-to-earth guy too. I was able to spend a good amount of time with him at BGG Con, and just a real compelling individual.
Yeah, I met him briefly at Gen Con, and I was thoroughly impressed. He seemed super welcoming and just generous and kind. So as a new designer, I found that really encouraging to see someone who's encouraging other designers and trying to encourage others to make games. And yeah,
I like that, and that speaks a lot to the industry that we're in. There's not a lot of industries that are like that, but ours is very encouraging for that kind of stuff. This is one of the few industries where if I were traveling to a convention and I didn't have hotel accommodations or something, and I could post on Twitter, hey, does anybody have a room I could stay with?
Yeah, that's true.
Tons of people would jump up and say yes, and they would trust me and I would trust them, and there's just this inherent kind of understanding of the kind of people that are in this industry, and it's really neat that way.
Hey, Michael, can you go over the games that I'm showing up right now? So Dark Rock, Vector, Shadows over Borgia.
Yeah. So Dark Rock Ventures is a worker placement with some dice rolling as well. This one is all about taking over the responsibilities of a crew that is mining minerals off of an asteroid and trying to do that before they get taken out by the hostile aliens in the area. And so that one's pretty neat, but it takes a nice worker placement, but it gets it done pretty quick. The game doesn't play real long. It's a nice 45-minute play for 2 to 5 players. That one is coming along really nice, actually. The graphic design is in progress right now. All the illustration is done. Really beautiful.
I think we have to give a shout-out to our friend Ace, who
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Ace is working on that with Michael in terms of he did the Vassal.
Yep.
He did the Vassal, and he's done a lot of development on the game as well. And
yeah, which is great.
He's been actually illustrated into the game as one of the characters.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing. I definitely have to get it then. He was watching the show earlier. He was commenting in the conversation during the live show. And also, I have to mention, as much times as I can, for people to watch the Nerd Nighters show. Ace is one of the hosts with J.R. Honeycutt. They do a fantastic show. We kind of consider ourselves the late night show to their Tonight Show. So we always run our show after theirs and hope to maybe catch a few of their viewers that stay up later. So we are big fans of both Ace and JR.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Vector, that's Adams, right?
Yeah. Yep. So Vector, this one's really neat too. It's like cyberspace, and you're taking on this role of kind of a hacker that's trying to get this data from the cloud, the data cloud of your opponent. This one is really neat. It's very simple, but how it comes together really unfolds a lot of different avenues. And Adam, having done the art and graphic design for it, has really made it just eye candy. The thing is beautiful to look at. It plays real quick. It's a 2-player game. We're working currently on a 3 and 4-player development into that. We'd like to, when we get to launching it on Kickstarter, to have it ready for 4 players. But this one's neat. You're sending little like sprites through this infrastructure. And hitting certain nodes that allow you to manipulate kind of what the board is doing at that time, and that changes everything for your opponent. And then there's a bit of a capture the flag element where you try to get your sprite up into their data cloud and steal that packet and try to get out with it. It's cool.
And how about Shadows?
So that's currently got a name change to House of Borgia. This one is a real tip of the hat to Liar's Dice. So it takes Liar's Dice and adds to it hidden roles and action selection. So it's kind of like a Liar's Dice meets Coup kind of thing.
Wow.
It's really it was really neat. Actually, I was just fun. I've got a tiny bit of some of the illustrations. This one is set in 1492. The Pope has just died, and the Cardinals are all kind of jockeying for their position for who's going to get elected. And so, if you're familiar with Borgia at all, it's all about lies, deceit, blood, poison, money, nastiness, all happening in the inner workings of religion. So it plays really well for a bluffing and lying game. It's really neat.
Cool.
And then Rock, Paper, Wizards, you guys know all about that one. That one.
We don't have to talk about that. That old thing.
Well, I'm sure that might come up once or twice on a future episode. I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion we might hear more about that one.
Well, just to put the teaser out there, it is a party game with some strategy to it. So it takes the party game to the next level and really allows you to kind of formulate some neat things and pull them off in a social game environment, which is typically pretty rare. So
I heard it's the best party game ever.
Better than Times of Total Recall? Yeah. Better than Times of Total Recall.
I don't know about that. I don't know about Total Recall. But number 2 is still a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, number 2 is pretty nice.
Oh, I was just going to actually follow up. And Michael,
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
mentioned, how great the industry is and working with other people. I know Frank has done a lot of partnership deals. I'm kind of curious. Like, could you tell us a little bit about, who's been great to work with? Like other publishers, I know you've done like
And who's a
distribution
jerk?
deals. And who's a jerk? No. And then the other thing is, do you have any upcoming ones? Is there any things in the works that we can look forward to that R&R is partnering, bringing to this side of the pond?
There's stuff that we're looking at that I haven't decided on yet.
Okay.
Our main partners overseas have always been Repost in Belgium. Fantastic guys. I mean, love working with them. They're great. And Eggerspiel. I mean, they're a lot of fun. They've got some great games. I love a lot of their games.
Yeah.
And we've had a good partnership with them so far. We've done several games with them. And I'm always open to those things. So I just look for games that I think will work, that I like, and if I can speak a deal, then off we go.
How did Hanabi work? Were you the first, or because I know you had it signed before the Spiel des Jahres was selected?
Yeah, as soon as I found out, I kept my eye on that the day after I played it. I lost track of it for a little bit, and then I heard that Cocktail Games had redone it and was issuing it out again.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's what I got. I love that game, so I went and met with Cocktail and struck a deal with them, and they did the same deal, I believe, either shortly before or shortly after with Abacus. Abacus submitted for the Spiel des Jahres, and boom, it was just like perfect timing.
Yeah.
But I knew. I honestly, I don't like co-op games. I really despise most of them because they have this problem where the alpha gamer will just take over and say, "This is what you got to do," and this is what you got. I hate that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But hobby has rules where you can't do that,
Yeah.
which is why I love it. And it was just perfect. I absolutely love that game. So if you're ever going to pitch a co-op game to R&R, make sure that you have solved that problem of the
Solve
alpha.
the alpha gamer
There's a hint for you guys.
Yeah.
Solve alpha gaming. So Frank, how exactly do those deals work when you co-publish and partner? I mean, I know there's obviously different numbers and different relationships, but in general, how does that work? For our listening public viewers.
Yeah, the secret handshake.
Yeah.
No, it's we basically come to an agreement where we say, hey, let's co-produce this game, and one of either R&R will publish it or the other company will publish it, and we'll do an English version while they're doing the German version or what have you, and we'll just split it up that way, and we just sell the game. It's very straightforward. It's not anything in depth or detailed. It's a co-publishing thing.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our after show here on the Meeple Syrup. Please, pay attention to our Facebook and Twitter links. So you can follow all of our action on there, and definitely come back next week on Wednesday. We have another kick-ass show. It's going to be the contest winners show next Wednesday. That's it from us. Thanks so much, Frank and Michael, for being on our show and the after show. This has been an awesome night.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, what? Technical difficulties. Oh, there it is.
End the show.
I can't.
I'm bored.
It's not letting me. Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go.
Don't say anything you don't want heard.
Okay, no, there. Hey. Okay, so that's where you can reach us. Stupid computer.
We're still alive.
We're still alive. Not quite dead yet.